G'day, Luke from Drifta here. Monday morning, I'm down Stockton Beach with Kaito. Kaito's just got bought himself a Hilux, and we thought we'd take a chance to do a couple of videos we've been wanting to do for a while on some of the recovery gear. So our new Drifta recovery gear we've got. There's a lot of things to show you there, and also the Deadman self-recovery device. So I've got that here as well. So pretty keen to try that out, and yeah, righto, we'll get going. Yeah, the INDEFLATE's a great bit of kit. People are loving these. The feedback's been awesome. And one thing I've found with them is, you know, you get them down to pressure. Say, we'll get down to 16 on these, say. And it's a good idea just to leave it for a minute after that. Because with the weight on different tyres, it seems to be that one tyre can deflate a little bit more than the other. And the gauge is only going to show you an equalise between the two. So the gauge of course won't show you individual the tyres, but if it does seem to be, if you put an individual gauge on the tyres after you've let down straight away, there can be a slight difference, and that seems to be just the weight on the tyres and things. So what I've been doing now is just give it a minute once you've finished, just so that they can equalise out, and then both the tyres are going to be the same. So yeah, awesome bit of kit though. As you can see, you click them on, you can stand here and do it, you're not kneeling down. It's an awesome way of doing it. And INDEFLATEs are going great. Okay, so here we are on Stockton Beach, and we'll give you a look at some of the gear that we've got for recovery gear. So one of the things we came down and test today is the Deadman ground anchor, and it comes in the bag like that. So I'll pull it out in a sec and show you that one. Also a couple of our recovery gear bags, and so we've now got a Drifta recovery gear kit. I'll show you that one there, and I've got some spare gear in here. So I'll pull it out, and now we're using this, it's a PVC coated mesh, Australian made mesh. It's really good stuff, and we've been using that for the ground tarps underneath the rapid wing awnings, like a shaped tarp, and it's great for ground matting. And with the offcuts I've been using it to make these bags. Now the reason I'm using that and not canvas is sometimes this recovery gear can get wet or damp or muddy, and you know, you don't want it to be getting mouldy and go rotten like that. So you know, if it is a bit damp and it's packed away, it's going to breathe really well through this mesh. So that's the reason it's mesh. So in our Drifta recovery gear kit, we've got it's all pretty much exclusive Bubba rope gear from America. You know, and there's lots of recovery gear coming out now. A lot of changes happening in the industry as well. A lot of the American gear coming out. The Americans are way ahead of us in recovery gear. They've got those, you know, the Jeeps and the big, you know, rock crawling competitions everywhere. So they're really up to date with recovery gear, and a lot of the really good stuff is coming out of America. And Bubba Rope's one of the leaders. They supply the American military with all the gear and some beautiful quality stuff. So what we've got is a just 10-foot tree trunk protector. Okay, pretty standard. But that's a Bubba Rope tree trunk protector. And this here is a tow rope basically. So it's a 10-foot tow rope, and that's 28,000 pound. Now it's 7/8 of an inch wide, so you can use that for a lot of different things. You could wrap that around, you know, a trailer if it's turned over. You could wrap around a spring. You could sort of do a lot of things with it. Just a really tough, short tow rope slash bridle. Now it's got a tiny bit of stretch in it. It's not a snatch rope, it's a tow rope, but it does have a little bit of stretch. And I've noticed that the first time you use it, if you're winching from this, you'll see it just stretch, you know, maybe 50 mils or so. And if you're hooking up from your winch with a cable or a rope, it's not a bad idea from your tree trunk protector, then go back to this here, okay? And that little bit of flex is quite good for you in case you stall it when you're winching. And you know, winching's not easy. You've seen it on the video before when I snapped my steel cable, and the truck just got caught up on a bit of a rock, trying to help it a little bit, you know, with the wheels, and basically stalled it, towing a trailer, and just that little jerk backwards just snapped the rope clean in half. Now if we had this in line, it wouldn't have snapped the steel cable, because you would have had that little bit of flex. So it's a great handy sort of rope. Right, then we've got the Bubba rope, snatch rope. Okay, so this is a 19,000 pound, 3/4 inch, 30 foot tow snatch rope. Okay, so it's got flex in it. So really keen to try that out. I haven't used it before. I've used the snatch strap many times, and you know, really keen to try out the new snatch rope from Bubba. Okay, soft shackles are a big part of what's going on at the moment, and in our Drifta kit you get 3 soft shackles, all Bubba rope. 2 of them are 32,000 pound, and 1 of them is 52,000 pound. Okay, so if we're going to use the red winch, which I'll show you here, this one as well, it's a good idea to use the 52,000 pound off the red winch. So 2 of those, and 1 of the 52,000. Now the other thing we've got is the little red winch as well. So this is the 8 ton. The most popular you're going to use is the 8 ton. We've got the big 18 ton and also a smaller 5 ton. The 5 ton, people have been buying them for quad bikes, and you know, some people got quad bikes set up for winching and stuff. So the little 5 ton is great for, you could do no worries for 4-wheel drive, but probably the 8 ton is better because it's a little bit bigger. Okay, and having that larger ring gives a bit more surface area. So the 8 tons to go. If you've got like a 6-wheel drive cruiser, or a cruiser and a trailer, or a caravan, if you want, you can get the 18 ton, and that's the big daddy there. So you know, no problems if you use that, just for winching out a car, but it does have more surface area, a little bit bigger ring, but it's heavier as well. The secret with these, as opposed to a snatch block, is these are so light. I think that's about 250-300 grams. They're so light, and all this gear is lightweight. Every time you use one of these instead of a D or a bow shackle, you're saving almost 1 kilo. And we've weighed my old recovery kit as opposed to a new one, and I'm saving 12 kilos. So that's a big thing. Besides being really good quality gear, they're so much easier to use, the soft shackles, and they save a lot of weight. Now your recovery gear, pretty much for me, I carry with me all the time, and that's 12 kilos I'm not carrying all the time. You're only really using these hardly ever, really, and you look at the time that you're driving. And weight is a big thing these days, and the more weight you can save is important. Alright, now the other thing we've got in the kit comes with the bag, is these soft shackle sleeves. And it's just a simple BOOTLINER sleeve. This BOOTLINER stuff looks like felt, it's what we use on the drawers, but it's actually like a polyethylene plastic material. If you put a cigarette lighter to this, it would start to burn. Okay, so it's like recycled Coke bottles, PET materials. It's very, very tough. Okay, and you know, for 10 years on our drawers, I don't think we've ever had to replace any, you know, of this BOOTLINER carpet on our drawers. It's so tough, you literally can't destroy it. It's the ideal material to use for a soft shackle sleeve, and that's what I've got there. So you can still very easily use the soft shackle, but if you had, for example, a drag chain, which I used the other day, or the front recovery points on a vehicle often are a bit sharp. Now I've got one here that's sharp, just from years of using, you know, chains and bow shackles, and you know, they're not made for a soft shackle. They don't have super soft edges, which you're going to start to see them coming out soon. Like you'll see recovery points made for soft shackles with nice rounded edges. Yeah, so if you've got a front toe point that you need a bit of extra protection for these soft shackles, or anywhere you want to use a soft shackle that you're worried about it, then you can use these sleeves. Now, you know, these soft shackles, particularly the Bubba rope ones, they're very, very tough. They're not, they say a soft shackle, but they're extremely tough material. So, you know, on the red winch, they are simply not going to wear. People have been asking many questions about these. Will they wear? Will they get hot? Will they melt? You know, we've put a heat gun on these, and the temperature rises about 1 degree from using this under strain. So they literally don't get hot. They're so slippery, and the ring is so polished, anodized, that there literally is no friction. There's no heat loss or heat gain. They're not going to melt, and they are very tough material. Yeah, the Bubba rope soft shackles are coated in a material as well once they're finished to give them that real slippery finish. The other thing too, this knot is very important. There's a lot of cheap soft shackles are going to come in the market soon. You know, we've seen a few already. It's quite important to get a good quality one. You know, this is recovery gear, and you know, but the knot, I was talking to the general manager from Bubba Rope the other day, Jim, really nice guy, and he's given me a lot of information about, you know, how these are made and the quality behind them. And you know, he's saying that when this knot is very important. It's not something you think about, but I'm not sure. You know, I call that a Turk's head knot. You know, from all my leatherwork days, we would call it a Turk's head. There may be other names for it, but it's very important that that's tied correctly. I've seen the ARB knot, soft shackle. You know, it's really loose. I mean, you can pull it apart, almost stick your finger through it. It's just not well done at all. And the top knot is just, I don't know what it is, it's crap. Yeah, okay, so it's very important that this Turk's head is tied properly. And what Bubba Rope do, they hammer this down tight, so it's not going to come undone. I mean, it's very hard for this to come undone, but they put extra care and, you know, in the manufacturing process, they literally hammer that tight in after they're finished to get that really nice and tight. And so that's the Luke the Drifter recovery kit. This one here, this bag, has just got some other gear in it. A bit of excess gear. I've got my controller for the winch, and I've got some of the Deadman soft shackles as well. These are awesome as well. Beautifully tied knot, really good soft shackle. These are 30,000 pound. These have got the sleeve on them as well, so they come with the sleeve standard, and that's sort of where we got the idea for the sleeve from. So beautiful quality soft shackles, the Deadman ones. So I've got 3 of those. Okay, I've also got this little shorty strap. This is from Factor 55. Alright, another awesome American company we're selling a lot of gear for, and we'll show you that as well. But that's just a general strap you can use for anything, you know. You know, around, say, around a leaf spring like that if you wanted to. You know, on a trailer if you wanted, if it tipped over. So just a very handy short recovery strap for lots of things. No stretch in it, but I've got that chucked in here, and that's in that bag. On the recovery bag as well, we've got a pocket on the side so that that red winch ring can go in the end pocket, so it's not going to get dinted or damaged. Okay, so the Deadman is this here. So what this is used for, if you're you're going to be using it if you're traveling on your own, and if you're traveling in convoy with friends or other people, you really don't probably need this, but it is a great extra recovery device. It's quite lightweight, and it's basically just a very strong PVC small tarp that you can bury in the sand, and you know, bury it and then winch yourself out from. So that's what we're going to do today. Quite windy here, so it's going to be a bit tricky, but we're going to bury that and try it out. Extremely well made, you know, very tough. It's highly rated, and you know, if you're traveling on your own, you know, in the Simpson Desert, in any deserts, which a lot of people do, then you know, burying a spare tyre can be done, but it's a lot of work. It's very hard. If you're a bit elderly, a lot of people traveling these days over 60s all over Australia, and it's a big job to pull a tyre off the back of a truck, dig a hole deep enough to bury it, and it's a big job and a lot of hard work. So this is really, you know, that replaces that. You can also use it for many other things. You can use it as a tree trunk protector. You can use it around rocks to you know, like a bridle around a big rock or a tree. So it's great as a tree trunk protector, and you know, you've got the 4 straps on it. So it's quite a good recovery gear device to buy and have in your kit. It's not, doesn't weigh a lot, rolls up pretty small, and we've been selling a lot of these. We haven't done the video yet, but a lot of people are buying them, so they're obviously quite happy and can see the potential in it. So we'll give you a go today, show you how that works. This bag is a Deadman bag, but we're making our own bag for this. There's a beautiful quality bag. It's not cheap though, because this is all American products. The exchange rate's terrible at the moment, so you know, these end up being, you know, I can't remember the price, but fairly expensive. And we're just going to make our own little canvas bag to replace that. So you can get the standard Drifter kit now comes with just a Drifter bag. It's got some nice yellow trim and a little bit bigger than this as well, so we've made it just a fraction larger. So when you buy them online, you can buy these, but you've got to select that on the cart to purchase the original bag. But the main thing is to have this here, and we've got heaps of those in stock. So righto, there's a bit of our gear. We'll show you also some of the Factor 55, and we'll show you being used. No worries. Okay, so you can see, good little spot here, steep sand hill, and you know, I've just gone up here a bit slowly, so I've got bogged in second gear, stopped in first and just drove a little bit to sink it down again, so definitely nice and bogged. And it's going to be a tough little pull too, because you know, pulling this out of the bog situation and also uphill. One of the keys with using these is the angle which you pull yourself out from. Obviously it's not going to be any good to dig it, you know, 10 foot in front of your vehicle. The angle of that line is going to be more high, and it's going to want to pull this out of the ground. So the key with these is to do it as far away from your vehicle as you can. There's no reason why you shouldn't. Just put your winch on spool and just drag it out as far as you can. So the ideal thing for us would be able to get us on the other side of that of the sand hill, so we can pull us right to the top. But also, you know, if we could pull ourselves up just, you know, 10 or 20 feet so we're not bogged anymore, we're on top of the sand, then in this situation I could back up, have another run, get a bit quicker, more momentum, and I'd get up the top, or let the tyres down a little bit further. I'd be out of this bog situation. So I don't have to necessarily drive myself all the way or tow myself all the way over the top of the hill. Really what we're trying to do is just get ourselves unstuck, but I will tow ourselves up a bit, see how we go. Again, the key with recovery situations is just getting yourself out of that bog situation, the easiest way, okay? And you know, there's always a lot of ways you can do it. We've got some max tracks. We could, if I was in this situation normally, I'd just let the tyres down a bit further, clear the tyres, back up, have another go. If I couldn't get up here, you can keep letting your tyres down a little bit further, or you can use the max tracks, okay? If we wanted to clear this away, we could chuck the max tracks in there. We'd probably get a few meters, but we're probably going to bog down again because we're just not getting the momentum we need to get up this hill with the tyre pressure we have. Okay, so anyway, if you're on your own, you're stuck, this is going to be a good option. It's not the only way you can do it. It's not going to be ever the only option, but it's about the easiest option under the circumstances, and there's going to be a lot of different circumstances where you'll get bogged, whether you're on your own in the desert, you're here with friends on the beach or whatever. But if you're on your own too and you're driving down the beach, you get bogged below, you know, below the high tide mark, you're on your own, nobody around, what do, you know? This is something you can just grab. This is probably the most important time you can use it. Everybody's seen cars bogged up at Inskip Point or up on Rainbow Beach around the Nagala Rocks, or trucks getting bogged and then the surf hits them and then destroys the vehicle. So everyone's seen lots of those. If you had one of these, you do have enough time to run this up the beach, dig a hole, chuck it in and pull yourself out. Right, we'll give it a go. Okay, so I'll dig this down, just down here a little bit, so it gives me a chance to pull over the top of this little rise. And I'm just going to use a little army shovel, okay? A lot of people say you've got to have a long handle shovel, and yeah, it's handy if you do, but the amount of time you use it, you know, I always carry this little army shovel, have done for a long time. It's one I acquired when I was in the army, and you know, if the Australian diggers can dig their trenches in World War I and II with one of these, I reckon I can dig a little hole for this recovery device. So I'm just going to use one of these. It would be easier with a long handle, but you know, I reckon if it's good enough for the diggers, it's good enough for me. I'm going to use the army shovel. Now, we haven't done this before either, but obviously that's the size of the hole, the diameter of the hole we've got to dig. A little bit bigger because the sand's going to fall in. It's very soft sand here. And the big thing is, how far away from the vehicle are you? And we're about as far away as we can get from the winch. And also then it's how deep you want to be. So you don't want to dig it deeper than what you need to. We don't know exactly the depth, but we're going to find out today. So probably do it about 1.5 feet today. And if that goes well, you know, that's probably, I think that's about the recommended, but there probably isn't an exact depth, you know, depending on the situation, how hard the sand is or the soil. So we'll go about 1.5 feet, see how that goes, and we'll do that, eh? So because I'll dig this down, just down here a little bit, so it gives me a chance to pull over the top of this little rise. And I'm just going to use a little army shovel, okay? A lot of people say you've got to have a long handle shovel, and yeah, it's handy if you do, but the amount of time you use it, you know, I always carry this little army shovel, have done for a long time. It's one I acquired when I was in the army, and you know, if the Australian diggers can dig their trenches in World War I and II with one of these, I reckon I can dig a little hole for this recovery device. So I'm just going to use one of these. It would be easier with a long handle, but you know, I reckon if it's good enough for the diggers, it's good enough for me. I'm going to use the army shovel. Keep filling.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't done this before either, but obviously that's the size of the hole, the diameter of the hole we've got to dig. A little bit bigger because the sand's going to fall in. It's very soft sand here. And the big thing is, how far away from the vehicle are you? And we're about as far away as we can get from the winch. And also then it's how deep do you want to be. So you don't want to dig it deeper than what you need to. We don't know exactly the depth, but we're going to find out today. So probably do it about 1.5 feet today, and if that goes well, you know, that's probably, I think that's about the recommended, but there probably isn't an exact depth, you know, depending on the situation, how hard the sand is or the soil. So we'll go about 1.5 feet, see how that goes, and we'll do that, eh? So
I'll just show you how far away we are. This is our winch rope. That's truck down there.
If I just measure it out with my foot, about there is where I want it. And start digging. Remember, you've got to fill this hole again, so don't chuck the dirt, don't chuck the sand too far. Alright, that's probably about a minute. I'm half dug already. It's going to be a bit of work. The key with something like this, you know, you mightn't be the fittest person and you're going to knock the wind out of you. The key with doing tough work like this is just to pace yourself, you know. If you go like a bull at a gate, you're going to knock yourself up, you'll fall in a heap and you'll be rat shit. So just pace yourself is the key. Alright, getting there.
Alright.
Righto, so you can see I've dug that hole, you know, 2.5 foot up to about there, and quite soft sand. Got a pretty tough pull because we're pulling uphill, and let's see how that goes. Now the easy part, filling it in. So just fill her in. Sensible to go to put your straps out like that, and so we're going to connect them together at the end. There we go, come in, eh?
Righto.
They're filming?
Yeah. Oh, I'll just see if the red light's on.
Andy, having a young fella? Come on, mate, get into it.
Yeah, I'm finding the sand that I'm going to put in there. Can't just dig it out for anyway.
I could do that quick with a bloody teaspoon, mate. Well, I've done a couple of years in the army and I've dug some, you know, some trenches. We used, I don't know what they're called, you know, personnel trench maybe. Had to be 6 foot deep, 8 foot long, and I was the gun at digging those, I can tell you. Key is just pacing yourself. Come on, mate, you're not even filled in yet.
Come on.
Look, there's heaps over there. Young fellas, mate, see? You have to teach them everything. Using the shovel wrong. Alright, let's call that done. 3 foot hole, all dug with a little trenching tool. And as you can see, the key digging a hole like that is just take your time. Make sure you're being effective with the shovel, and you'll get there. Okay, so the key with this is to hook up the Deadman in this configuration. These lips here have got a special purpose, and that's what it's for, like that. Okay, simple as that there. And then you hook this one here up. A bit short there, so I'm just going to use my tow rope. So easy to hook these up, eh? Alright. See that goes, Kaito. So
Righto.
we've got the Deadman in there. We've got 2 Deadman soft shackles. We've got a Bubba rope, 10 foot winch extension rope. Another Bubba rope soft shackle onto the Factor 55 Ultra Hook. Back to the 10,000 pound worn winch. Give that a go. Yeah, righto, so you can see what's happened there. It seems to be that Deadman now is sort of set in the sand, it's grabbed and holding. It's going to move a little bit to start with, and if that hole's not deep enough, it's just going to come out. Got to dig it deeper, but you can see now it's set. We've got the right depth, and you know, it seems to be about that 3 foot, 2.5, 3 footers ago. You're better off digging that a little bit deeper and having it hold than pull out on you, and then you got to dig it all again. Okay, so take that extra 5 minutes to dig a little bit deeper than what you think. You know, in soft sand like this, 2 foot's not enough. You need at least 3 foot. And so we're going to get bogged again now and give it. Now when I pull it out from there, I gave a little bit of first gear revs, just a fraction, and I'm going to get bogged again here now and just let it pull out just from the winch. Yeah, okay, so you can see we've got ourselves out there. If you're just doing a dead pull on its own without any wheel turn at all, it's a lot of strain on the winch, on your recovery devices. So, you know, we're just giving it a fraction of wheel turn in low range first gear, just a tiny bit, and it just pulls you straight up. Obviously we're really bogged now, we're not going to get out anywhere, but when you're pulling, just give it a very slight first gear and it'll just pop you straight out basically. So that's important to do that. You don't want to be, you know, having no wheel turn at all. You don't want to be spinning your wheel, of course, because you get bogged again, but just a fraction helps a lot. So what we'll do here now is, I've driven over the top of the line. We're going to hook up the red winch and do a double pull and have a look at the difference with that as well. The thing is, the red winches are great, but it halves the length of rope that you can use. Okay, so that's the only thing. You need, say, an extension strap or some longer rope, but now we're close enough we can use the red winch off this off the original winch line. We'll give that a go. Okay, so that's my recovery point there. There's no real sharp edges, but it's not a soft edge, so that's when you need your sleeve. Hook this up two ways with the ultra hook. Like that, okay. Always have this edge up, okay. The other way to do it is you can connect this up first, probably a bit easier. Snap it on like that. That's the advantage of the ultra hook. You've got both methods there. If you wanted to, you can put your pin in. so that can't come undone. Such a nice piece of kit. Right. Yeah, now that being in the sand is not going to be real good for it. So what I might do, I might put just a bit of canvas or something underneath here, so it's just holding it up out of the sand. Be a good idea to do that. Okay. These bags are PVC coated mesh, very tough, so that's probably a good idea just to use that. And righto, give that a go.
Wait. Let it back out. Go backwards.
Okay, you can see the situation here. We're really well bogged and we're winching up a hill, and we got the recovery at the top of this hill here. You can see what's happening. That's just going to drag that straight into the sand, so that's not going to work. And that's what the thing is about recovering process is. You know, everything's not going to work the first time, and you got to a little bit learn and adapt as you go. Okay, no one's going to know exactly what to do in every situation, but you can learn. And so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put another sleeve on. Obviously that's going to dig into the sand, and I'm going to put this sleeve on here to protect this soft shackle. Now if you're not on a hill like this, you're not going to have this problem. It'll sit up nice and high on top of the sand. But we wanted to you know, have a situation where it's not an easy recovery, which this isn't. Okay, so alright, now see that there? That's going to bury in the sand. This sleeve, it's not going to hurt the ring, okay, because that's just anodized aluminium. You might rub a bit of the red off, doesn't really matter. What you want to protect is the soft shackle. So we've put that sleeve on there. There's no way that can wear in the sand, and as soon as we're done, we can take that sleeve off, shake all the sand out, and that's going to be protected. So give that another go. Okay, see when I've stopped then, and you're going to do that, I've stopped 2 or 3 times here. As soon as you stop turning the wheels and put the brake on, you're going to get that little pull and that little jerk on the whole line. That's why it's really important to have this line here. Okay, that's what I really like about this line. It's got that little bit of flex in it. It's not a snatch. It won't stretch, but it's got a little bit of give in it, and that's when you're going to break a line, you know, or anything in your gear, is when you just have that little jerk, you know, halfway through the recovery. So I really like that bit of gear. So you can see what's happening there. Worked quite good, and we might just keep going and go another couple of meters, I think, and we're almost up on top. You can see how steep that is. I mean, that's a pretty sharp little sand hill. Got about a metre difference there, and that's a tough little pull. Okay, I'm quickly just going to re-spool some of this winch, so I'll back a little bit off. We don't want to have too much of this winch bunched up in one section there. Yeah, now I'm just going to shorten this up now, take this rope out of here and get the red winch down straight onto the Deadman, and we'll just pull this last little bit out. So 3 screw in there. Yeah, I really love this. That short rope is so handy. I don't need that one. Okay, look at that sleeve. I mean, that's really doing its job. You can see it's been rubbing there. Okay, really working and doing its job, protecting that soft shackle in that abrasive sand, and that's going to be good. And we're up. So, you know, that's not a unrealistic recovery. We've deliberately got ourselves bogged there, but here on Stockton Beach, you know, have a look down the back here, how steep it is on the rear end of the dunes. there's been a few times when you know, you might back down a little bit too far, you know, get yourself in a bit of trouble, you're on your own, and you can see there with the equipment we've got, we've been able to get ourselves out. Taking a little bit of time, taking a bit of effort for sure, but if you're on your own, that's what's going to happen. Not much more you can do about it, right? So, you know, that's a fairly steep little pinch there. The sand's very soft, as you can see. The tyres are on 16. We could go down a bit lower on the tyres, but we're trying to, you know, explain and show all the gear how it works, and that's working under a fairly heavy load as well, you know. So anyway, we'll just pull all this apart, have a quick look at it all. Yeah, and as you can see, it's a tough recovery there. You know, there's a lot of strain on everything, but having all this gear working in conjunction together, nothing is really under a heavy load. So, you know, having the red winch halves the load on the winch, and also the strain on the rope. The Deadman's dug nice and deep in there. And just having a slow pull with the tyres makes a big difference as well. So, you know, all the gears work really good. The red winch there, I mean, that's definitely not hot. The sun itself has probably got most of the heat in there, but it has come up a couple of degrees in temperature. Certainly hasn't got hot at all. Have a look at this, the soft shackle sleeve. Have a close up of that, Kaito. So we've pulled that on two sides. You know, you can see a bit of red mark there, hardly a mark on it though. And inside, that soft shackle's really protected. Yeah, righto, so that's worked really well. Thing is too, is on the beach, you know, it's a hot day, and the last thing you want to happen is that the motor on your truck overheats. If you're working your truck too hard, that's what can happen. And especially a lot of these new vehicles, you know, with automatic transmission, all that sort of thing, the oil will get hot and you'll start getting warning lights come on. But that's just a nice and easy pull from the truck, the motor, the transmission, the whole drive chain, all the way through the recovery process. Everything's doing a little bit of job, everything's doing its part, and there's nothing under enormous strain. Okay, so, you know, it's all good gear. And the thing is, if you buy cheap gear, really, it's just not made anywhere near quality as what the good quality stuff's made. And what'll happen is it's going to fail at the worst possible moment. And you know, plenty of people that bought a cheap winch, they've exactly found that out. You know, I mean, a winch, there's no perfect time that you want that to break or stop working. It's critical that it's got to work for you every time. And you know, that's what happens with cheap gear. It'll fail on you at the worst possible moment, and then you're really in the shit. So, you know, recovery situations, you want everything to go well. You don't want to make any mistakes. And you know, if your things can easily go from bad to worse, right? We're in a bad situation because it's bogged, maybe the tide's coming in. You've all seen it on videos and stuff where it gets comical and a bad situation goes worse. What you want to do, the critical thing in a recovery, is a bad situation, you improve it and get yourself out without making mistakes, without gear failing. And that's the real important thing. So if you know a little bit about what you're doing, and we're trying to show you today some good techniques, and you've got good quality gear, then you'll go from a bad situation to a better situation, get yourself out without a drama. You can sit down and have a beer and relax, and without stressing out and all sorts of dramas. So that's the key, and that's why it's important to get good quality gear. Okay, now we've got to get this Deadman out of here, and I have to have a little think about how I'm going to do that, because I don't want to dig it out. So let's have a look over here, Kaito. Righto, so we've got to get this Deadman out of here, and I haven't dug one out before, or haven't pulled one out before, so just having a look at the situation, what I think would work best is I reckon I'm going to just get these two straps here. I'll connect it up to my tow rope, and I'm going to drive over the top of this. I've got a bit of a downhill slope here. I'll hook that up to the rear recovery point, and I'll just basically tow it out and see how that goes. So we'll hook this one here up first. Right, and because I'm going a bit downhill, that should just easily pull that out. Alright. Okay, so I've got the Factor 55 rear hitch link, and I don't need a sleeve on this because this is the GATOR-JAW from Bubba. This is made for a soft shackle, nice and smooth around edges, so no need for a sleeve there. You know, it's such nice to use this quality gear, these the soft shackles, as opposed to D shackles. You know, you got to wind them in and out all the time, and they're heavy. They're so cool to use. I was in Poland, you know, in March I think it was, and first time I really come across the GATOR-JAWs was my mate over there, Gregory, and he was showing me, it's on the video there in Poland, and he showed me these GATOR-JAWs, and from that we really got into them, and they're so good to use. Saves a lot of weight, such good to use, awesome product. Okay, so I'm just going to take the strain and I'm going to pull that out, see how it goes. So that works pretty well, and again, if you've got the right gear, you know, you can use it in all sorts of different situations. You can see how handy this little rope is. I just love that. We've used it in the recovery up there to get a bit of extra length. We've definitely used it for a bit of you know, give, so that we're not going to jerk our lines and break things, and oh, it works so good. You can see, you know, what we've done there as well with the whole recovery process. Everything's just been really easy and calm, and we haven't put any strain on any of the gear, and that's the key point. You see sometimes recoveries and guys are just spinning the wheels like crazy and, you know, overworking things and straining things, and that's when things go wrong, gets broken, gets dangerous. So all sorts of things can happen then when it goes from bad to worse. So the big thing is keep it calm, keep it steady, and you know, don't overwork any part of your recovery process so that everything goes well. And that's what we've done today. You know, winching up that hill there, the car's just working really easy. We're not going to overheat the car, we're not going to damage the transmission, we're not going to overheat anything, we're not going to break anything, and we've done a fairly difficult recovery without any stress, without any dramas. Just a matter of digging a deep hole. So that's the key. But you can see how well that's worked. Deadman, you know, I reckon that's a pretty good bit of kit. Small and light, it only weighs a couple of kilos. You could carry that, and you know, there's so many ways you could use that as well. Those straps go right through there. You could use that for a winch extension if you wanted to. Look at the length in that. Right, if you really needed an extra bit of recovery length, there's no reason you couldn't use that as a winch extension. You know, a bridle. You could come back here on two soft shackles to there and to there. Right, you could use that any way you wanted to use it, you know. And as long as you do what we've done, do things steady without, you know, stressing parts, then you're not going to damage or break it really. So, you know, it's not just a sand recovery device. You can use that however your imagination sort of can think of. And again, in recovery situations, there's so many different things that's happening. We've used lots of different techniques just in this simple sand recovery, and every time you do it, it's going to be a little bit different. So having that versatility of gear gives you so many more options, okay? If you've only got a Max Trax, you've only got one option. If you've got this, you've got the winch, you've got some Bubba rope, different things, you can select which is the best way to get that out, okay? And that's the key really, the easiest way of getting yourself out of trouble with the least amount of stress, without the least amount of strain on your gear. And you know, we could have recovered that many different ways, but that was like the easiest way, and we've done what we wanted to do. So, all right, good old Deadman, works really well.